Assalamualaikum and good morning. Today we have as our guest Datin Azimah Rahim. She's a well-known activist in matters of relating to education. Yeah, she heads the Parent Action Group, Teachers Action Group. It's a society that advocates for good education in the country. Welcome, Azimah.
Thanks very much. That's it.
Education is a lot of things to say, but never mind. We'll try and focus on some aspects of it. I remember 5 months ago, lebih kurang lah, there was this report by the World Bank that our education system is actually not in a good footing lah. 57%, 58% of our young students in primary school from year 1 to year 5 or 6, they have a very low capacity to read and write and maths. And there were references to how we are much weaker than Vietnam. We spent 12.8 years in school and learning what others learn in like 10 years, in Singapore and Vietnam. So it is a very damning report from the World Bank. And I also remember that our Prime Minister himself said that the Ministry of Education should not be in denial about the state of education in the country. Ni bila Anwar Ibrahim dah cakap macam tu, I believe there will be some reaction lah. What have you heard, the feedback that you received following this report from the ministry?
All right. Dato', I was at the launch of the World Bank report. It's called Strengthening the Bamboo Shoots. It was launched in April 2024. And I was quite eager to listen to the Minister of Education, who was invited to give closing remarks. Unfortunately, she didn't appear. So the closing remarks was given by the country manager of the World Bank, just off the cuff. It was, as you say, a damning report because it focused on teachers, and the emphasis was on teacher weaknesses, teacher challenges, and what needs to be done, comparing to other countries in the region. I think it also showed that, of course, the immediate reaction for the Minister of Education was that we fell badly because of COVID, but unfortunately, it was everybody who was badly affected by COVID. But interestingly, Vietnam and Cambodia actually improved their numbers, despite them going through COVID as well. So I think, of course, the ministry has come out to say we are doing reforms already in line with what the World Bank had recommended. But of course, all this takes time, And but I also understand many months later, the World Bank, as far as the education desk is concerned, has left the country, which is unfortunate because we need that independent stand on which way our education system is going.
You mean to say the government has sent back World Bank?
It appears so, as far as the education desk is concerned.
Oh, this is serious. That means to say we cannot accept criticism lah.
Something like that, in not so many words.
No. This is. I too have some experience. it's more of an anecdotal kind of experience, not research. Because we do a lot of charity work in Kelantan. We go to school, we give them food, or we help in so many ways, especially those who are poor. And we found from talking to teachers and parents that the students in the primary school have difficulty even basic reading and writing skills. Now, I don't know where to put the blame on. I mean, I'm not saying that we should, but there has to be some response from the ministry. This is a very unfortunate situation, because kalau anak-anak kita cannot get basic education, how are they going to get jobs? How are they going to get better pay? So, can you tell us why is this? I mean, there must be many reasons: structural problem, policy problem, bureaucracy, whatever. But what do you think is the main problem here?
Well, I think specifically going back to Kelantan, which is where I'm from, my roots are from also, Dato'.
Okay.
I think a lot, of course, there are extremes. I think there are parents who send their children to Chinese schools, right? In fact, Kelantan has the most number of Malay students who go to Chinese schools throughout the country, surprisingly. Also, I think it's because the more pragmatic parents know that their children cannot get jobs in Kelantan. And they have to go out, add on to the urban migration. And most of them end up in Chinese enterprises, Chinese businesses. And that's where they need to know the Mandarin.
Yes.
Because you think faster in mathematics when you think in Mandarin. And also these Chinese businesses like to take the Kelantan students, or rather ex-students, school leavers, right? Because they are seen as honest. So Kelantan kids come into the cities, they're honest, they think they count in Mandarin, and the businesses love it. But on the other hand, you also have this other extreme whereby parents think, masuk Tafiz.
Tafiz school, religious school. Yeah.
I think it's very popular in Kelantan. It's probably most popular in Kelantan. But in Tafiz, it's a bit questionable who the teachers are. Because some Tafiz schools, I suppose there are variations of Tafiz schools. Some are just afternoon school. Some are hostels, dormitories. You're there all the time. So where there is such a thing where it's residential, you have they do teach the curriculum, the national curriculum, but it's just core subjects, maths, English, science. Maths.
Are these schools regulated by the ministry?
It's up to them to register. They are encouraged to register.
But they don't have to.
They don't have to. Some do, some don't. It's not mandatory to register. And I think the reason why they don't register is because they probably don't meet the criteria.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
how can the government, the federal government, allow that? I mean, surely if someone is professed to be teachers or teaching your children, they must have the basic requirement, criteria, basic qualification.
Yeah.
Basic,
so there must be. So the question mark is: are these teachers qualified to teach? And if they are they teaching the syllabus properly? And if so, why is it that so many students are still not reading, writing, and counting?
Yes.
So that's Kelantan. But coming out of that, I think it's not just Kelantan. I think a lot of that.
It's a national problem.
A lot of that Tafiz school education is also quite widespread. Pahang, Terengganu, But I think it's a question of lepas tangan lah. I think teachers are chasing the syllabus, chasing the A's, and neglecting the ones who can't catch up or keep up. Which is why this debate about bringing back UPSR and PT3, right?
Okay, we'll come to that, but I just want to continue this I find it, yes, my friends in Kelantan also told me about Chinese school. The Chinese jenis kebangsaan, the Chinese independent schools,
But that
Yeah.
Chinese independent schools is secondary level. You have
No,
the SJKC at primary
SJKC.
level.
I'm talking
SJKC.
about. I'm talking about the SJKC,
primary school, yeah.
primary school, and 40% of the students now are Malays in Kelantan. 35 to 40%.
It's very high.
Yeah, and that's why I think if I'm the government or minister, why don't I make all the Chinese jenis kebangsaan school, the Chinese school? Why don't we make it that as a national school too? Where parents can send the children, if they want to learn Mandarin, they can send to this Chinese school. And instead of giving money during election time, fund them properly, fully.
Well,
wouldn't that help education?
if it's just basic Mandarin, national schools actually offer Mandarin.
Yeah, but it's not just Mandarin. It's the whole culture of teaching. The emphasis on, must be different.
Yeah, because
the teachers are different.
There
I'm
is
sure.
a limit to how many SJKCs there are in the country. We've reached the limit.
Yeah, so that's why I said you change the law. You make them a national kind of project, so that more Malays can send to this type of school, instead of labeling them Chinese, Tamil, national, just schools. And let the parents choose which school they want to send the children to.
I think the parents are still quite free to send to whatever school they want. I don't think students have been prevented from.
Yeah, but they can't if there is a limit. If the capacity is limited.
Is the Bahasa Melayu.
Oh, I see. So if you make them teach Bahasa, more classes, that'll be all right.
No, they say that SJKC, the Bahasa Melayu that's taught in SJKC is of a lower level than what is taught in national schools. In fact, what used to be UPSR, right? You have UPSR BM. It's a lower level than the UPSR BM in national schools is of a higher level than the UPSR BM offered in SJKT and SJKC. I think SJKT and SJKC, Tamil and Chinese schools, sit for the same UPSR BM paper, which is a lower level. They've been trying to bring it up, but there's a lot of resistance. Trying to align the UPSR paper.
Okay, all right. Okay, now I want to come back to this testing. This announcement by the ministry that they're going to have, or they're thinking of introducing the standard national exam for after standard 6.
Yeah, UPSR and PT3 all over again.
All over again. UPSR and Form 3. Yeah, which is what I used to sit. So I like the system.
Oh, you like LCE, right?
Yeah.
You said LCE, I said LCE.
Yeah, but I like it because it makes you study. It makes you work hard because there's an exam. And I think that if you don't have an exam, there's no incentive.
It's not
especially in a culture where, you don't know whether you're going to get a job, you don't know whether you're going to get a good salary, you don't know whether you want to go to university. It's different from our time. In our time, we're all very clear. We want to be this, we want to go to university, we want to pass. So in a culture like now, if there's no exam, what do students do?
It's not that there's no exam. Though there is.
But there's no national exam.
They don't call it examination. They call it assessments.
Yeah.
So what's happened is now.
So you don't agree with this UPSR?
No, it's not as simple as that. It's not about just going back to UPS and PT3 without considering other things. It's not as easy as that. And actually, the reason why we introduce, the ministry introduced PBS, school-based assessments, is because we were running away from all this high-intensity national exams. So what happens is that in the classroom, this is a term that's used in the Malaysian Education Blueprint, teaching to the test, which means that teachers are in classrooms to finish the syllabus as fast as possible, do lots of revision, Latih 2B they call it, stress everyone up, teachers are stressed, kids are stressed, parents are stressed, and then before the exams, they spot questions, and you study, to score A's in these spot questions. That's what learning was all about the whole year. So what happens is, it's fine for students who are academically inclined and parents who know that kids can score, and they are the ones the loudest. But what about the students who are not academically inclined? And that's probably a majority. Which is why they introduced this school-based assessment, which is actually 3 assessments a year. It's not that there's no assessments. So you have assessments. So kids are consistently assessed throughout the year. So there's no such thing as not doing anything for 9 years and suddenly you cram everything in the last 3 months so you can get all your A's at the end of the year. It's very stressful for everybody. So there was no learning throughout the year except for scoring the A at the end of the year. This is what we have been going through actually. So now when they introduce school-based assessment, you have the first assessments. You're consistently assessed throughout from start to up to that, and the next term you're assessed again consistently, and then you end at the end of the year for your final year assessment. They call it summative and whatever you call it.
Yeah, but we still have this problem that people cannot read and write.
Well, I don't think that by introducing UPSR and PT3, suddenly everybody can read and write.
No, not suddenly, but there has to be something wrong with the system that we have now.
You can still be assessed, and then when you are assessed, you see, now it's no more A, B, C, D, E, F. It's tahap pentaksiran. Tahap pentaksiran is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 being lowest, 6 is the highest. So you are assessed. Are you tahap 1? If you're tahap 1, what needs to be done to go on to TP2? Tahap pentaksiran. This is what parents don't seem to be able to understand, because before, when it's ABC, right, you're comparing your results with the person next door, the person next to you, person in front of you, back of you, next to you, So I'm better than you, kind of thing. But now, tahap pentaksiran, it just concentrate on the student. What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? How can we improve? How can we turn your weaknesses into strength? It's a very comprehensive assessment actually of the individual student without comparing it. In fact, I thought you mentioned about Singapore, right? I was looking at Singapore. Singapore has actually followed us in this tahap pentaksiran. We started, I think, in 2018. At some point, we started. No, I think we started in 2013.
2013.
The start of the blueprint, right?
Blueprint. Yeah.
I think they started in 2018. This tahap pentaksiran, where you look at the students' individual strengths and weaknesses, and not just look at A's, B's, and C's. Also, I think the other problem also is that pupils, when they come in to Standard 1 or even earlier, they're not assessed for learning disabilities. This is what we have to introduce in schools, because we're a lot more sophisticated now, right? We know how many students have got autism, ADHD, on the spectrum, etc. Because we are able to diagnose it better now. We didn't be able to do that before.
But we don't even have a standard preschool curriculum, do we?
I think there is, at least as far as Kemas is concerned. The government aided.
Yeah, but we don't have. Do you have a kindergarten for, say, Chinese schools? Do you have a standard for that? Or Tamil school? No.
I don't.
Religious school? You don't.
I don't. Not that I know.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We have. It
becomes. Of course, the private kindergartens in the urban areas, do a lot more than what's expected at preschool. That's why when they go into Stand 1, they find the system quite boring.
Yes.
Also, I think, for instance, Bahasa Melayu, it is so difficult now. It's so difficult to learn Bahasa Melayu in Standard 1 now. They have made it so difficult. So when teachers should be thinking about enhancing or reinforcing the reading, writing, and counting, they're already pushing very difficult Bahasa Melayu passages to the students.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think I always think that teachers just want to outsmart the kids.
Yeah.
So you should go down to the basics. Make sure the kids have a good foundation before you give them difficult stuff. This is when you want to do it instead of 1, 2, 3. Get the foundation right. And I think again, lepas tangan lah. I have to finish the syllabus. It's too bad if you can't follow. And then the numbers add up. They accumulate.
Yeah.
Those who cannot read, write, and count.
But okay. I want to come back to the teachers lah. Okay, you have a union, right? Teachers have a union, and of course, probably the union more focused on their benefits or their working hours or difficulties as a teacher. But do they play a role, an active role in determining the quality of education, of syllabus, of subjects? Do they? I don't know. I haven't read any statements from the National Union of Teachers. Oh, we must do this. We must do this on education, or this and that. Why is that?
Maybe they do it privately with the ministry and they don't publicize it. Maybe, and also maybe sometimes some ministers want to see them, and some ministers don't want to see them. But I noticed that the NUTP, they seem to make statements when there is a crisis. Then they came out with a statement. But there doesn't seem to be.
How many teachers? I'm sure there are thousands, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. But I think not every teacher is a member of NUTP.
Oh,
it's voluntary.
Oh, it's a voluntary
and you
union.
also pay a subscription, which is quite hefty actually. That's why they're very rich.
Oh.
So I don't know how many. Maybe 50% of teachers are part in NUTP. I don't know.
Oh, I thought that all teachers are members of the union. No.
Voluntary.
But they don't seem to be, like I said, they seem to be quite muted on this.
Maybe the members who are teachers, are already in the system. Maybe that's how they make their presence felt without us knowing. We don't need to know anyway. But I think they should be a bit more vocal.
Yeah, of course.
Similar to the Ministry of Education, even they, I think, still have problems with communicating with the public. I think they should be more vocal, more engaging with the public, make more, do more op-eds.
No. Education is so important.
It is.
I mean, not only it takes a lot of our money. 3 or 4% of our GDP spent on education. So it's a matter of public interest. So our Minister of Education and our Director Generals and all those people, they should engage more with the public on educational issues.
Yeah, they should engage. Yeah. And then
especially when our system, when our rating or our recognition as a country on education is quite poor, especially primary education, So I am quite, the attitude that you mentioned that perhaps needs to be changed.
But on the other hand, the ministry also have said that we don't really want to engage the public because it takes too much of time. Therefore, if they are really doing work, then tell us what you're doing. Because I think that is the reason why we think they're not doing anything, because they don't tell us what they're doing.
Yes.
I think a lot is going on with the Ministry of Education, but they don't want to share what they're doing. So we think that they are not doing anything, and therefore we are not getting any better. It's all about communication, actually. Like this tahap pentaksiran, right? I think the ministry needs to come on and explain what it's all about.
Yeah, I think, okay, I mean, I'm not an expert. I don't know what system works, On the one hand, I thought there should be this national exam, and the other hand, your explanation is fairly convincing. That if your assessment is there and seriously carried out to make sure that students are not left behind, kind of targeted approach rather than a general approach of how many A's. I think that also is a good point. But something must be done to make the system work, because we have tried both.
I think we need time to see that to see through this school-based assessment, and it needs to be tweaked. By all means, tweak it. If teachers need support, give them the support, but don't just abolish it and go back to what we were running from in the first place. Chasing the A's.
Chasing the A's, yeah. Yeah, and chasing PhDs. Our country, we love to chase PhDs. I see so many PhDs, teachers, civil servants, politicians, especially UMNO fellows. They like PhDs. but that doesn't tell the whole story. See the problem with all these degrees, you know.
I think parents, why they're pushing it is because that's what they know. They came through that. But when you look at the difference is chasing A's. When you're chasing A's, completing the syllabus, a kid can go home with homework, 20 pages of homework. If just because you want to chase the A. But if you were assessed consistently, you wouldn't have to go home with 20 pages of homework, It'll be given in bits and pieces, and eventually that's your outcome at the end of the year.
But I have heard also complaint, Datin, about this assessment. That in some places the assessments are more reflective of what should be done.
Yeah.
And in some places are very poorly done. So how do you solve this problem?
It's the ministry. The ministry has to come out and decide which schools need help. Give the support. What else needs to be done to make a success of it? We can't be introducing something and then 6 years down the road, abolish.
U-turn.
Flip-flop. U-turn, whatever it is. We saw that with UPSR, right? And then we saw that the LP also, we're supposed to have 5,000 schools already by 2025. We only have less than 3,000 schools offering DLP, and in most cases...
What is DLP?
The dual language program.
Oh, dual language program.
English, So the ministry has failed actually. And then now PBS, we've only been doing it for so long, and now they're talking about going back to where we came from. We have to evolve.
No, this is the thing. I also read this ministry making an announcement that in 2 years' time, or whatever, 2.5 years' time, we're going to have this artificial intelligence in our syllabus. And I said, excuse me, we don't even have basic intelligence properly taught or properly cultivated, properly nurtured. And then we are going into this esoteric Elon Musk type of artificial intelligence. I know it's useful, but we are still lacking so far behind in basic skills. And that's what I'm concerned with, that we like to sound clever and announce all those things that Switzerland announced or somebody announced, but we don't have the basic skills.
It's in the end, it's all about implementation.
Yeah.
We are fantastic. We have fantastic policies. We have fantastic blueprints to the extent that other countries come and take our blueprints. And then, but we fail on implementation. So I think come 2025, I think the ministry will come out and say, no, we have not met the target of the Malaysian Blueprint 2013-2025, which we spent 20 million on. It's not the money. I think it was a very good report, and I think it was worth 20 million. Unfortunately, the report did not tell us how to do it, the implementation.
Yeah.
So had that been included, I think we would have met the target.
Maybe we should extend 10 more years.
Yeah, I think McKinsey should come in and do another blueprint, but this time with implementation.
Oh, yeah.
Bagi discount lah.
Yeah. But would the minister listen to that proposal?
He has to, because it's gonna be global. All the countries will want to have a peek at the blueprint, and everybody will be watching us.
So basically, what we have now is actually very progressive already, very modern. It's just that we couldn't implement it properly.
Because before we were just looking at memory, right?
Yeah.
You memorize your history, what year happened when, what incident happened what year, and then Bahasa Melayu, you memorize your keywords, you memorize essays, so you get your A. What kind of learning is that?
Yeah.
And then but now, especially after TIMSS and PISA, after our involvement with TIMSS PISA, we noticed that the countries that do very well focus on things like problem solving.
Of course.
Critical thinking.
I mean, Singapore did very well in maths and science.
Yes. And if you look at the Singapore system now, they have done away with, or rather, not done away, but less and less assessments.
Yeah.
Because when you have too many assessments, you're concentrating on getting the A's in assessments.
Yes.
And along the way, you're not learning.
Yeah.
You're just spotting topics, so you get your A. You memorize your essays, etc. And then they realize that this is not on. So although they have kept the UPSR equivalent in Standard 6, what they've done is there was a debate also in Singapore about whether to drop the Primary 6 exam or not. It's called
but they still have it.
They still have it. But as a compromise, they decide to keep it, but they reduce the number of assessments midterm. So now I think they do have that, but I think they have that PLSC in Standard 6. I also think they have a similar, less intensified version in Standard 5, so that they can prepare themselves for Standard. But less and less assessments, so that they are learning along the way. They can concentrate on problem solving, the critical thinking, which wasn't in the syllabus before.
Okay, one of the this is the last part that I want to discuss with you. I think there is a lack of attention given by politicians on educational issues. I think the voices that ministers or government listen to are voices of opposition politicians or voices heard in parliament, not necessarily opposition. It's politics like that. The more people talk, then they respond. Somehow, education is less appealing, less sensational. The problem of the budak-budak is less attractive for this budding politician to come up. Sensational issues like whether it is Malay rights or Islam or whatever, that is more their favorite topic. Now, how do we get our leaders to be more interested in education? Shouldn't, for example, like I said, maybe the teachers' association should be more vocal. Then, of course, you have NGOs such as yourself, the parent group, and all that. But how else can you? What about the students themselves? I mean, university students, people who know the issues, people who are in colleges. Do they come up with some advocacy of some kind to improve aspects of education? I mean, like I know, for example, in France, I was told that they have not an association, but they have a very close link of student groups, advocating certain things about students' welfare, including education. Very active student group. We don't have it. I mean, I don't know. Do we have it here?
No, I think if their student group is just within the school, but it's more on things like canteen stuff, than education. Education, I suppose parents just take whatever they can get, and if they don't like it, they leave, and they go find another type of school that suits them best. But people like us who've been, people like us in Page who've seen it through the we're gonna have our 14th AGM already, so that makes us
quite old.
Quite old. 16 years watching the system go up and down.
Yeah.
And we see, for instance, this UPSR and PT Form 3 debate, right? We've seen it be abolished, and now people are talking about coming back. But we should move on, not go back to where we came from. PPSMI, for instance, we had it doing so well. In fact, I think there's some countries who took up Science and Maths English after we dropped, and they're doing very well. Well, Brunei is one of them. They're laughing at us now.
Well, Brunei followed us.
Science, Maths and English all the way.
Yes.
Yeah, they're doing very well now.
I thought Sarawak is going to do the same.
Yeah, but Sarawak only only did it in 2020, and itu pun they had to find their own funds, right? 18 million of their own money.
Yeah.
And there are other states who want to do what Sarawak did, but they got no money.
But this is the part I find it very difficult. The education is our system of education. Our policymakers are quite linked to politics as well. In their, you know what I mean? Political consideration takes precedence rather than the actual problem of education.
I mean, and the reason why Sarawak is on its own trajectory is because of MA63, right?
Yeah.
And Pujaya is so afraid to lose Sarawak. they're also afraid to lose Sabah, but they're not as afraid as to lose Sabah than they are to lose Sarawak.
Yeah.
Because Sarawak is so fragmented, right?
Yes. Yeah, but it is quite a serious matter. I just hope that parents get more involved.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think parents who have school-going children also look up to Paige when there are problems, because they dare not speak up within the school because they are afraid of repercussions from principal, from the teachers, on their children. It's a long-standing problem, so they dare not say anything. But in fact, my neighborhood school, they wanted to do a protest on the dual language program. Before they could even do anything, the police and the special branch were already on their backs. So they thought, forget about it lah. Too much hassle.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's quite depressing. We talk and talk about the same thing. There is no solution in sight. But anyway, I hope that your group continues to propagate whatever it's worth. We can only talk and hope some people up there will listen and change or make things better. Because we are talking about children. I mean, the unfortunate thing about all this, the rich parents, the people who can afford it, they have options, you see. Private school, international school, Singapore school, whatever. But most of us have to live with the system. They don't have option. And anyway, thank you for coming to chit-chat with me, and I hope we can talk again sometime in the future.
Pleasure.
Thank
Thanks.
you.